Hello, friends. Welcome to New, Innovative, and Crazy About AI. This is the podcast where we talk about what's actually happening in AI, what actually matters, and what might be a little unhinged. So, a little crazy, right? I'm your host, Jennifer Bittinger. I am president and co-founder of an AI tech company called Narrativa. Look it up. It's a pretty great company and we're having a lot of fun. But before we dive into today's episode, I want to take a second and explain how this podcast works, because structure matters, especially when it comes to the tech world, which right now feels like it's changing every 5 minutes. So, every episode of this podcast, I decided that this show will revolve around one simple question, which I have been asking myself now for 10 years. When a new piece of AI tech shows up, how do we actually classify it? So here's the framework that I use, and you'll hear this a lot. Okay, there are 3 categories. When a new AI tool, model, or system launches, I will ask 3 questions. And based on the answers, it lands in one of 3 buckets. Okay, so the first bucket is new. New means it's genuinely recent, okay? But it's usually an evolution or not a revolution, okay? So an evolution of something that already existed. Think better performance, faster speeds, nicer interfaces, smarter defaults, all right? Is it useful? Yes. Groundbreaking? Not yet. Still exciting? Absolutely. Okay. The second bucket that these tech might fall into is innovative. Okay. Innovative means it changes how work actually gets done. So it introduces new workflows, new behaviors, or new possibilities. There is this, I would say this is where productivity jumps in, okay? And it really starts increasing. This is where businesses start rethinking systems. This is also where AI goes from interesting, okay, to impactful. All right. So the third bucket that tech may fall under is crazy. And by crazy, which is my personal favorite, it's reserved for tech that just makes you stop and say, oh, we are definitely living in the future now, like Star Trek. Okay. But crazy doesn't mean bad all the time. It means disruptive, boundary pushing. It also can sometimes mean slightly terrifying. Yep. I've got a few of those right now, and very much worth paying attention to. All right. So today's spotlight, the newest AI tech of 2026 that I want to first start with is, I would say the biggest shift is not a single tool. Actually, it's a new category of AI entirely. Autonomous, persistent AI agents with memory and decision authority. Yes, this is a long name, okay? And yes, it's exactly as powerful as it sounds. So, what exactly is this tech? Up until recently, most AI tools were reactive. You asked a question, they answered. You gave a prompt, they responded, i.e. ChatGPT, all right? But the newest AI systems that are really coming alive right now are the persistent agents, all right? That means they can remember you across different sessions. They understand long-term goals. They monitor situations over time. They make decisions for you, which I personally love. They also take actions without being prompted every step. Coordinate with other agents, which is really fun, and they improve based on outcomes. So this is no longer chat with AI, this is delegate to AI. And I think there's a really big difference. Here are some real world examples. So These agents can already manage inboxes continuously, run research projects for weeks. Yep, another big one. That's awesome. Monitor market changes, optimize workflows, handle customer interactions, pretty fun, and update documents automatically, coordinate tools and systems, and flag risks before the humans notice them. Just pause there for a second. So think less assistant and more like digital operations manager who never sleeps or takes a vacation. All right. So this is pretty groundbreaking, right? This is going to change 2026 and beyond. So where does this land? Okay, this new tool set, I would call it, this new AI agentic tool set. Is it new? Not exactly. Agents have existed for a while. Most people don't know that. Is it innovative? Yes, massively. But if I'm being honest, this tech earns the label in my book of crazy. And this is why, because this is the first time that AI isn't just supporting decisions, it's participating in them. So it actually has a seat at the table or at your boardroom table, okay? Here's some pros of this new AI tech to look out for. So let's talk about the upside, because there is a lot. Number one, as everyone wants, massive time savings, all right? These systems, they eliminate entire categories of busy work, not minutes, for example, but I would say also hours and days. They're always on intelligence, okay? So we all, as humans, we always have off days. Everyone does, right? We're tired, our boyfriend broke up with us, or our cat died, or, like just something is going to be off. Human beings are that way. But with these agents, they don't have off days. They're always on. So they don't forget and they don't get tired. So I would say also they're better decision support. With a long-term memory and pattern recognition, these agents can they can spot trends that us humans may miss. Also, they scale and have expertise in scalability. So one expert can now clone their thinking across multiple agents. So both ethically and responsibly, which is a huge productivity unlock. And you train, just like you would train your own junior assistants or, operations assistant, a human operations assistant to have good ethics and, good corporate culture. You can actually train these agents now to reflect your own moral code or ethical code, which I think is really cool. You give them really strict boundaries. And accessibility. Small teams suddenly get these enterprise level capabilities. Okay, let's talk about the bad, because everyone wants to know that. The cons and why integrity matters, okay? Now we need to talk about the downside, because this is where things get really serious. So there is an over delegation risk. If you hand over too much decision making without oversight, you can lose human judgment, and that could get scary. Also, there can be a bias amplification. So agents learn from data, and if the data is biased, then the system scales the bias. Ooh, that could hurt, especially in any industry that's highly regulated. I work in pharma primarily, so I understand. We've got to be careful there, okay? We still need this human in the loop as the judgment, right, of making sure everything is compliant. Also, transparency challenges. So as a system grows more complex, it becomes harder to explain why the decisions were made. So we need to think about that. I know a few of my teams, we've been building out QC challenger agents. This is cool. This is actually not just cool, it is vital. It's very, very, very important to have challenger validation components. All right. These agents can be very helpful in that way. And lastly, governance gaps. All right. So many organizations are adopting this tech faster than they are building rules around it. So be careful. All right. Don't just throw a huge, swimming pool of agents at your corporate team and expect everything to go smoothly. You really need to have a very clear set plan on how to implement, integrate, and adopt. And if you have questions about that, please reach out to me. That's what I do all day long with many different clients around the world. So, all right. So the biggest non-negotiable, of course, is the human in the loop. This is why we say over and over and over again, that integrity is not optional in AI adoption. And the most powerful systems right now of 2026, they have to include human review, clear escalation paths, right? If there's a major problem, audit trails, absolutely, explainability and accountability. So AI can operate autonomously, but responsibility always stays human. And we really have to remember that. Whew. So what does this mean for the future? All right, here's the big takeaway. We are moving from a world where AI helps us to do work to a world where AI helps us run systems. Okay. That is new. That is innovative. And yes, I think that's a little bit crazy. But it's also an opportunity to design technology, that really helps support people and doesn't just replace them. And I would say at this point with agents, what's really great is don't think of agents as replacing your workforce. Think of agents as creating more for your workforce. So how can it actually empower them? Make sure that you're using the agents to empower your workforce. And I think you'll see huge efficiency gains when you have those agents helping all of your work teams. So final thoughts for today. The future of AI in this year of 2026 is not just about speed. Okay. I would say it's really about judgment, trust, design, and value. All right. You need to really make sure what you're building is not just mudslinging something against a wall, but actually helping to meet a specific problem, solve a specific problem. I think that is what's most important. And lastly, I'm just so happy you're listening. Thanks for listening today. I think that you should try out building some new agents. They are really fascinating. They're going to change not just how we work, but what we work on. And I think we have such an exciting year ahead. So stay tuned for the next episode of New, Innovative, and Crazy about AI. I think you're going to have some fun, new, surprising episodes that might show you some cool stuff that you can integrate and use in your everyday workflow. All right. Thank you so much. Stay curious, stay innovative, and please stay human. All right. I'll talk to you next episode. Bye.